Joining me now, another man who ran the nation's capital for a long time, former Redskins quarterback Joe Theismann, former MVP and Super Bowl champ. Joe, I know that you've already gone on record. You think Tom Brady has taken a massive hit in terms of his public perception, but I'm curious about your perception of Brady and if that's changed at all.
It hasn't, Dan. It hasn't. I still believe in Tom Brady. I mean, he made two specific statements. One, when Chris Collinsworth interviewed him before the Super Bowl, and Chris shared his comments during the Super Bowl about Tom being adamant about the fact that he didn't do anything with the balls. And then in his press conference, he said he didn't do anything. And if you read the Wells report, or at least the excerpts of the Wells report, there's nothing conclusive. I mean, they come up with terms like he generally should have known. Quarterbacks, the tool of our trade is a football. And depending upon your hand size, depending upon your preference, some guys like the balls a little bit harder, some like them a little bit less hard. So you wind up in this no man's land of what is fair, what is not fair, what is correct, what is not correct, what is cheating, what is not cheating. Tom, in the court of public opinion, has been crucified. He's accused of being a cheater. He's accused of being a liar. And I totally understand the appeal, and I think there ought to be an independent arbitrator. None of anybody that has anything to do with the National Football League to hear this case. The bad luck for Tom Brady and the New England Patriots is this incident comes on the heels of so many different instances that the league had to drop the hammer, especially with a star like Tom, especially with a franchise like the New England Patriots, or they would have been accused of being too soft. So it had to go this way.
Joe, let me ask you, when you played, did you have any idea what the legal air pressure of a football was supposed to be? And what did you do to your footballs?
I did not have any idea. As a matter of fact, I didn't have any idea until January when this whole thing came up, what the acceptable pressure was. And even the league in its rules states that you have a variance from 12.5 to 13.5. So they know that there are variances. We played in a little bit of a different type of a situation. When I played in early into the 70s and 80s, I believe even early 90s, we didn't have kicking balls. You had one specific ball that was used for punting, place kicking, and throwing. So as the game went on, the ball got a little more used, the balls got a little more used, and they were a little bit easier. But I could tell when I picked up a football how inflated it was, how deflated it was, if one was a little bit harder than the other, a little bit more difficult to grip for me because my hands weren't the biggest. So you could tell, obviously, that there were things going on, but you never thought about, okay, is it 13 PSI? Is it 12.5? Never, ever entered my mind.
Joe, it's a little different now, obviously, than when you played and people would look up your stats in the press guide. We have the Internet. Everybody has a Wikipedia page. Is this ever going to leave Tom Brady? Will it really harm his legacy?
I think it will. I think it's very damaging, the accusations that have been made. Evidently, with the punishment that has been dealt out, it's a fact. The punishment has been dealt out. The National Football League offices found Tom Brady in some way, shape, or form guilty of something. That's why the punishments were dealt out to the Pats and to Tom. I think it's extremely damaging, especially when you attach words like cheater and liar. I fully expect Tom Brady to come out in the next period of time and stand by his statements both to Chris Collinsworth and also at his press conference. Tom loves this game too much. He respects this game too much. And I'm not, I'm a fan of his. I'm a friend of his, but I'm also very honest about my opinion. What would he have to gain by doing something like this? That's where you really have to ask yourself. What does he gain? Three-time world champion, one of the two most recognized faces in football, he and Peyton, I believe, we would have to concede that those two everybody knows. What would he have to gain if he knowingly did something against the rules? It doesn't make sense to me. It never has, and it still never will.
All right, he is Joe Theismann, one of the great quarterbacks to play the game and a great broadcaster as well. Joe, thank you very much for your time.